Every holiday shopper's got a list, but Ross shoppers, you've got a mission. Like a gift run that turns into a disco snow globe, throw pillows, and PJs for the whole family, dog included. At Ross, holiday magic isn't about spending more, it's about giving more for less. Ross, work your magic.
Marshall's buyers are hustling hard to get amazing new gifts into stores, right up to the last minute. Like a designer perfume for that friend who never RSVP'd, wish list topping toys for her kids who came too, Belgian chocolates for the neighbor, a cozy scarf for your boss, and a wool jacket for your husband that you definitely did not almost forget. Marshalls, we get the deals, you get the good stuff, even at the last minute. Whew. Find a Marshalls near you.
The show that makes you laugh, think, and occasionally uncomfortable. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Are the Oscars making a deal with the devil? Well, that's what we're about to discuss because the Academy Awards are going to be moved to a YouTube-only broadcast in just a few years, and we're going to discuss that here with Professor at the Cinema Studies Institute at the University of Toronto, Charlie Keil. Charlie, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So this historic shift, I think people not in the film industry and not film buffs don't realize just how big this is. The Oscars moving from a major broadcast network, ABC in the US, to YouTube. So walk me through the headline. What exactly is this announcement?
Okay, well, there's a couple of, frontline aspects of it. The first is that they're leaving the network with which they've had a relationship for decades. I think it's something like 5 decades. So this is a major change in an ongoing relationship. The other is that they're abandoning network television generally, as you said, for YouTube. And then the question would be why? Why is YouTube preferable from the eyes of the Academy, from the safe home they've had for so many years?
That certainly is the question. Let's take a stab at answering it. Is it a money thing? Is it an audience reach thing? Is it a rebranding in the world of streaming thing? Are all these things I just listed not mutually exclusive and it's all three?
I think that you have to look at a deal like this from the perspective of both parties, like what's in it for the Oscars and what's in it for YouTube. So for the Oscars, I think they've seen declining ratings over the last number of years. They had a high of something like 58 million, if you can imagine, viewers during the Titanic year. And it's been a steady decline and become more rapidly evident, as it has with other award show over the last post-COVID period. So they need to goose their numbers. They need to find a way to reach more people more consistently. And I think many listeners would probably say, I don't necessarily watch the Oscars. I watch the clips. And where do you watch them? On YouTube.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. So I think that there's a way in which the Oscars think this could deliver the show to more people in a more immediate fashion. And they're also talking about it being an important global step for them. And it may be just more seamless because YouTube is an international carrier as opposed to with ABC. It has to be made a deal with each, region because ABC doesn't exist in anywhere but really the US.
American Broadcasting Company. I think that's what the A stands for.
That's exactly what the A stands for. So, and then from YouTube's point of view, well, the future is for big number delivery, the future is live events. So you want to be getting you want to bag the ones that make a difference, that get a lot of press. And the Oscars is probably the most prominent non-sport live event there still is. So for YouTube, it's well worth it.
What does this say about big broadcasting stranglehold on television? Does it show that it's losing its grip to streaming? I mean, I know the answer is yes when it comes to TV shows, but I never thought in a million years for live stuff like this they would lose their grip. What does this say about that?
I'm inclined to say, unfortunately, for all of those broadcast TV aficionados, your tense is wrong. The grip has been loosened already. I just don't think that network TV has much claim to any importance anymore. I mean, yes, the Super Bowl is still on network, but this is the slow and probably much more rapid march towards seeing the way in which almost nothing will be on network TV exclusively or primarily.
I'm going to try to have a side conversation here, and I'm probably going to sound like an idiot because you're like a professor in film and I'm just some idiot with a microphone. But this delineation between like the Emmys and the Oscars and television and movies, it was really driven by the way in which we consume the format. One, you went into a theater and sat down. The other, you watched broadcast television in 30-minute slots with ads every 12 minutes or whatever it was. There's a blur between the very formats. I wonder if in the future, like the Oscars and the Emmys might merge, if film doesn't have these points of formality and format, like being broadcast on TV in the awards ceremony and going into the theater, and streaming is just taking over. What does this say about the future of the industry?
I mean, it's kind of the age-old existential question. Can film survive as a separate format/medium? And I think the answer for the time being is yes. I don't think the shift of this award show to YouTube is not the death knell for movies. I think it's a sign that the Academy recognizes it needs to reach more people in a more effective way. But there's still this, however long it'll last, there's still this allure of the movies that is different than TV. And the primary difference between TV and movies is that TV has a much more kind of, let's say, porous format to it. You can have a show that lasts 4 episodes, it can be a miniseries. You can have something that goes on for 22. Movies are by and large single shot in a theater, as you say, but not necessarily just in a theater, but they're no more than 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes. And that's it. So the format differences are still pretty entrenched. And there have been some instances recently of, where does this fit? So I'll give you a good example. Bridget Jones, the most recent Bridget Jones film, Universal, I would say in its not universal wisdom, decided to release the film theatrically in the international market where it made a lot of money, and then just released it on Peacock for the purposes of, I think it was Peacock, sorry, but a streamer, for the purposes of bringing viewership in for, I think it was Valentine's Day. The film probably would have made a fair amount of money in the domestic box office. But the reason I mention all this is by virtue of doing that, it invalidated it for any Oscar nominations, and then it had to be nominated for the Emmys because it only got released non-theatrically. Whereas it would have been, eligible for, let's say, a BAFTA.
It sounds like you're not in the camp that theater is dead and that streaming has killed the theater, but there are people making those claims. And to those people, they're saying this deal is like making a deal with the devil. You're basically moving on to the very platform that's killing you. What do you say to someone who makes a remark like that?
Well, yeah, but I don't think that really holds because back in the day, like back in the 1950s, all of Hollywood was up in arms about TV, right? TV was going to kill the movie.
And then the talkies, when they added voice tracks to film, people were very upset about that.
Yeah, but that was at least still within the same format. I mean, when television came along, it was a competitor, a direct competitor with movie making. And everyone said, we got to stay away from TV. Well, that didn't last very long. They sold their libraries to the television stations, not necessarily the networks, but then the networks too. Stars who were past their prime started appearing on television shows instead of starring movies because there weren't as many movies being made, et cetera, et cetera. The point being, the main competition was television, and yet where did the Oscars appear? On television. So I don't think just because the Oscars are shifting to YouTube, it means they're throwing in the towel. Again, I would just say it's a financial decision. If the movies die, and there's a good chance they could, although people have been saying they were going to for a very long time, and it has never happened. I don't think it's because the Oscars have ended up on YouTube.
To the Hollywood skeptics who are saying, is YouTube the right partner for the Oscars? Are there pros and cons here? Is this an effort to reach a younger audience?
It might be. I mean, a lot of people are saying the one thing this gives the Oscars, and this could be a double-edged sword, is a lot of latitude in terms of the production. YouTube does not have live programming infrastructure for production. So they've got 3 years to ramp up, but chances are they're going to give the Oscar side of it a lot of say in how the show is, put together, produced, etc. And the only thing is the Oscars have never shown a lot of self-restraint when it comes to length. So we could look at a much longer Oscar show if they're given enough rope.
One thing that people won't realize is that when you're on TV, you're subject to the FCC in Canada, the CRTC guidelines. no profanity. When you're streamed online, celebrities can say whatever they like. I'm looking forward to a potentially more profane Oscars.
Yeah. The Oscars Unleashed, kind of like Golden Globes 2.0. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think that the thing, though, is the Academy. Remember, it's the Academy here that really matters. Yeah, and the Academy really sees itself as upholding a certain stature for the movies, and I don't think they'll want to give that up right away.
They won't give up the decorum. Well, Charlie, thanks for talking to me about this. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Charlie Keil is a professor at the Cinema Studies Institute at the University of Toronto.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu? Is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.